to help you all get to know Mariana, a senior UX designer.
Okay.
And, you sent over her resume and portfolio.
Yeah,
So that's like the perfect place to start.
it is. It is. And, we can get a really good idea of where her strengths are and how her experience could potentially benefit, any projects that you might have in mind for her.
Exactly, yeah. And looking at her resume, like right away I noticed she lists experience with all the industry standard tools like Figma and Adobe XD
Right.
Sketch. And, she has over 12 years of experience,
That's a lot.
which is amazing. But what I found really interesting is that she specifically calls out
Mm,
exploring and using AI tools now. Like
yeah.
that really caught my eye.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good sign that she's really keeping up with all the latest developments in the UX field.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that you're interested in, incorporating AI into project management workflows. And this is actually something that Mariana has explored as well. In fact, she even developed a concept for using AI to predict potential equipment failures on construction projects.
Oh, wow. So she's not just, following trends. She's actually applying this stuff to real world challenges
Exactly.
on like in an industry that you're familiar with. So
Yeah.
that's really impressive.
Very much so.
Yeah. And it looks like she's had a lot of opportunity to kind of put her skills to the test in lots of different roles.
Right. Her most recent position was as a senior UX designer at Procter and Gamble,
Yeah.
where she spearheaded the development of a management system to improve communication during advertising campaigns.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So that project was a big success. Her resume mentions a 50% reduction in communication time.
Yeah,
But did that like actually translate into a better user experience?
it did. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Because communication was streamlined, the whole process of getting ads to market was a lot more efficient.
Right.
So this likely led to a smoother experience, for everyone involved, both internally and for the end users who ultimately, see those ads.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
And a more efficient process usually means cost savings for the company, right?
Exactly. And Mariana highlights this on her resume.
Okay.
She mentions that the project resulted in reduced advertising costs and ultimately, increased company profits.
Oh, wow.
So she's thinking about, the business impact of her work, not just, just the design.
Just the design aspect.
Exactly.
Okay, so she clearly knows how to deliver results in like a really corporate environment.
Mhm.
But what about her experience in other sectors?
Well, before Procter and Gamble, she was at Stack Construction.
Yeah, we
She
are.
tackled a major website redesign.
I was just looking at that. So she redesigned their main page, and it led to a 40% increase in conversions.
Right.
That's a huge jump.
It is. It is. And when you compare the before and after screenshots in her portfolio, the difference is really striking. The old design was cluttered and pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
Her redesign is very clean, modern,
Mm-hmm.
and it immediately tells you what the company does and what actions you can take on the site.
That's great. It sounds like she has a real knack for like simplifying complex information
Yeah.
and making it really digestible for users.
Yeah.
Is that something you've noticed in her other projects as well?
Absolutely. It seems to be like a consistent theme in all of her work.
Okay.
For example, at Stack Construction, she also took on the challenge of merging 4 separate software applications into one.
Whoa, that sounds like a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
What kind of skills would you need to pull that off successfully?
Well, strong information architecture skills are really crucial for a project like that.
Okay.
You really need to be able to understand how users are going to interact with these complex systems. And then you have to organize information in a way that makes sense to them.
Mm-hmm. And based on her results, it seems like she was able to do just that.
Yeah.
So we've got streamlined communication at Procter& Gamble,
Smart.
a website redesign that boosted conversions at Stack Construction,
Yep.
and then this incredibly complex software merger also at Stack.
Right. And that's just scratching the surface of all of her experience.
Wow.
We haven't even really touched upon her time at Solid One Agency,
Right.
where she championed usability and consistency across a range of projects,
Okay.
from e-commerce platforms to crypto landing pages.
Wow. It's clear that she's tackled such a diverse range of design challenges across different industries
Yeah.
and consistently delivered results.
Uh-huh.
But before we move on to her portfolio, I want to go back to the AI piece for a moment.
Okay.
You mentioned her concept for integrating AI into construction software.
Yeah.
Can you give us a specific example of what she actually proposed?
Certainly, one of her ideas involved using AI to optimize construction schedules.
Okay.
So imagine a system that analyzes real-time data on weather conditions, material availability, and worker productivity to predict potential delays and then suggest adjustments to the schedule.
That's incredible. It could potentially save construction companies so much time and money.
Yeah.
It seems like she's not just designing interfaces, she's trying to find innovative solutions to these real-world problems.
Exactly. And this kind of forward thinking is something you mentioned looking for in a UX designer.
It definitely is. And speaking of her focus on efficiency, we were talking about her project at Procter & Gamble,
Mm-hmm.
where she helped streamline their advertising process.
Right.
Does her portfolio, shed more light on how that project actually improved the user experience?
It does, yeah. She actually includes a case study
Okay.
that highlights how the new management system made it much easier for marketing teams to collaborate,
Well,
access assets, and track campaign progress.
mm-hmm.
So this streamlined workflow likely reduced errors and bottlenecks,
Yeah,
ultimately leading to a smoother experience for everyone.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're seeing tangible evidence of how her design thinking is translating into real-world benefits.
Yeah.
Now, you know how much I love a good before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And her portfolio doesn't disappoint.
No.
The transformation of that Stack construction website
Yeah.
is truly remarkable.
It really is. And it also highlights her ability to translate business goals into effective design solutions.
Okay.
Remember, their main goal was to increase conversions.
Right.
And she achieved a 40% increase.
That's huge.
Just with her redesign.
Yeah.
The old design was very text-heavy and pretty difficult to navigate.
Mhm.
Her new design is clean, visually engaging, and prioritizes those clear calls to action.
You mentioned earlier that she has a talent for simplifying complex information.
Yeah.
And this project really showcases that I'm noticing a trend in her work where she seems to really prioritize clarity
Mm-hmm.
and ease of use for the user. Would you say that's accurate?
I think that's a very astute observation. Yeah. Her focus on user-centered design is apparent throughout her entire portfolio.
Okay.
For instance, in her case study for the Overonics mobile trading app,
Yeah.
she really emphasizes all the user research she conducted
Oh, interesting.
to understand the needs and pain points of traders.
User research is something we've been wanting to incorporate more into our own design process.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what specific methods did she use?
She mentions conducting user interviews, surveys,
Well, okay.
and usability testing
No.
to gather insights. And she doesn't just list these methods.
Yeah.
She provides really specific examples of the findings
Right.
and how they informed her design decisions.
That's great. It shows she's not just going through the motions.
Right.
She's really diving deep into understanding her target audience.
Exactly. Yeah, it demonstrates her ability to design those experiences that not only attract users, but also keep them engaged,
Right.
which aligns perfectly with your focus on retention.
It does. It seems like Mariana has a real talent for creating user-friendly mobile experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we haven't really talked much about her visual design skills yet.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that aspect of her work?
I'd say her visual style is very clean, modern,
Okay.
and professional. She has a good eye for typography and color palettes,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows how to use visuals to effectively communicate information and guide the user's eye.
Okay.
You mentioned that you want your brand to have a more contemporary feel,
Right.
and I think her aesthetic could be a good fit.
I agree. Her designs feel very current and on trend, which is, important in a fast-paced industry like ours.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of trends, let's circle back to her work with AI.
Okay.
You mentioned her concept for integrating AI into construction software.
Mm-hmm.
Does her portfolio elaborate on that idea at all?
It does. She actually includes a conceptual prototype
Oh, cool.
that demonstrates how AI could be used to predict potential safety hazards on construction sites.
Oh, wow.
For example, the system could analyze data from sensors and cameras to identify workers who are not wearing proper safety gear
Mhm.
or who are entering restricted areas.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, and this could significantly reduce the risk of accidents.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It shows she's thinking about the ethical implications of AI as well, which is
Yeah,
becoming increasingly important in the UX field.
very much so.
You mentioned that you're looking for a UX designer who can kind of push boundaries and bring fresh perspectives.
Right.
It seems like she definitely checks those boxes.
She does.
Cool.
Her work as a photographer, videographer, and documentary filmmaker suggests she's very comfortable working with different mediums
Yeah.
and also, collaborating with diverse teams.
It's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground with her resume and portfolio,
I know, right?
but there's still more to uncover.
Yeah.
In part 3, let's delve into those additional experiences
Okay.
and discuss how they might, bring value to your specific needs.
I'm really interested to see how that diverse background of hers might inform her approach to UX design.
Yeah,
It seems like she's someone who's constantly learning and evolving,
definitely.
which is always a good sign.
So we've really gone in depth with her resume and portfolio,
Hmm.
but there's one section we haven't touched on yet, and that's her additional experience.
All right.
I'm really intrigued by this part because it shows like a totally different side of her.
Yeah, her work in photography, videography, and documentary filmmaking is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It speaks to like a certain level of creativity and a desire to capture and share stories,
Hmm.
which is all skills that can definitely be valuable in UX design.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like her award-winning documentary and how that kind of storytelling
Yeah.
could translate to like crafting compelling user journeys.
Oh, absolutely. Crafting a good user journey is all about understanding the user's needs and motivations
Yeah.
and then guiding them through like a seamless and engaging experience. That requires a deep understanding of narrative structure and the ability to evoke emotions,
Mhm.
which are skills that documentary filmmakers, they often excel at.
Exactly. And her experience, capturing footage for platforms like Shutterstock and National Geographic shows she's comfortable working with different mediums and visual styles.
Yeah.
It seems like she's constantly pushing herself to explore new creative avenues.
Exactly. And that willingness to experiment and learn new things is really essential in a field that's as dynamic as UX.
For sure.
You mentioned wanting to incorporate more video content into your company's website.
Right.
Having someone with Mariana's background on your team
Yeah.
could be a huge asset.
Absolutely. She could bring like a fresh perspective
Yeah.
and a wealth of knowledge.
Totally.
Plus, her global travels and understanding of different cultures could be really helpful in creating more inclusive and user-centered designs.
That's a really good point. Designing for a global audience requires a sensitivity to cultural nuances and different ways of interacting with technology.
Right. It seems like Mariana has had a lot of opportunities to really develop that global perspective through her travels.
Yeah, it's impressive to see her commitment to continuous learning,
Yeah.
whether it's exploring, new technologies like AI or honing her skills in various creative fields. It makes me think that she'd be the type of person who's always bringing new ideas to the team.
I agree. And remember her experience mentoring students at Beetroot Academy.
Oh, yeah.
That also speaks to her ability to communicate complex concepts clearly and effectively, which is crucial for collaborating with, developers, stakeholders, and of course, users.
So we've explored her resume, her portfolio, and even her additional experience.
We've covered a lot of ground.
What stands out to you most? What are like the key takeaways you think our listeners should consider when evaluating Mariana's potential fit for their needs?
Fine.
She's not afraid to embrace new technologies like AI. She's passionate about user research.
Right.
And she has a proven track record of delivering results in all these different industries.
And like beyond the technical skills, she just seems to have this genuine passion for design
Yeah.
and a desire to make like a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. She's not just designing interfaces.
Right.
She's using her skills to solve problems, improve lives, and really make technology more accessible and enjoyable for everyone.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what final thoughts would you leave our listener with?
Okay, well, I would encourage them to really think about how Mariana's unique blend of design skills, content creation expertise, and global experience could really benefit their specific needs and challenges.
Okay.
She seems like someone who could bring a lot of value to a wide range of projects, particularly those that require innovation, user centricity, and a commitment to excellence.
Great advice. We hope this deep dive has provided you with all the insights you need to make an informed decision. If you're looking for a UX designer who is not only skilled, but also passionate, driven, and constantly evolving, Mariana might be the perfect fit.
She might be.